I planned an ambitious 100k Christmas Day flight west from Lake George to my grandparents' old farm near Sutton, then north to Gundaroo and Gunning, and then returning via the escarpment near Collector. This is how it developed.
Here we are, heading off towards Sutton for what I hope will be a great flight. I'll elect not to go the way I intended. There's a bit too many trees and hills that would be difficult to land if I had an engine out. And I'll just show you the view. So that's looking down towards Gundaroo. That's the way I'm going to go towards Sutton. Once I get around these trees that you can see down to my left, I'll head a bit more towards Sutton, but not until that happens. Today I optimistically plan to do 100 kilometres, but the enormity of that is sinking in, so I'm afraid I won't. And just so we've got a bit of a picture, there's Lake George. Feel a bit uncomfortable flying away from Lake George, but you've got to get outside your comfort zone sometimes. And there's Sutton there, and then Canberra. You can possibly see Belconnen Hall. And now we're heading towards Gundaroo. It's amazing how plans change. I had hoped to do 100k today, flying to Sutton, then over my grandmother's farm, old farm at Frankfurt, then cutting back to the Sutton Gundaroo Road, but I've decided to cut out the corner to going to Sutton. So still plan to do probably 80k with any luck. I'm currently at about 3,000 feet, just cruising along, and everything is good. There in front you'll see the Gundaroo Airport, which is owned by Dick Smith. I'll just fly a little bit upwind of that. I love the sound of my engine just purring away in the background there. It's very, very satisfying. And if you look up, you'll see my wing, which is behaving nice and predictably. Nothing's going funny there at all, so that's good. Here we are, just flying over the Ash River. I'll just turn around a bit so you can see Dick Smith's Airport. And there's the Gundaroo Airport. Straight ahead is his house. I'm going to head a bit upwind of that so he doesn't get too much noise. The Yass River looks very picturesque. A great morning. Not too bumpy, which is good. Down there you'll see the little township of Gundaroo. Just stay upwind of that to minimise the noise. Someone down there at the cemetery. Sad place to be on a Christmas day, but these things happen. This is a little bit rougher than I've ever experienced before, but I've pulled my trimmers into the first stop. Anyway, everything seems to be going fine. My wing up there looks quite stable. It's settled down a bit now, so that is good. But back a while ago it was quite rough. I'm not sure if that was ground-induced turbulence or thermal activity. Yep, the wind has definitely increased. Got a couple of kilometres to go until I'm on the flat. Should be able to see collector, which will be good. Okay, cut right, get across this power line. Safe. Okay, my wing's getting thrown about a fair bit, but it seems to be behaving very well, which I'm grateful for. This is definitely the most turbulence most thermal-induced turbulence I've ever experienced. When I get up high, I seem to be progress, so I'll drop down again. See if I do much better. Power lines ahead of me. If I have an engine out, I'll do a 360. Over those, so that's safe. I now see Lake George, so I'm very happy about that. There's the road to Collector, and out there you can see Lake George, so I'm now on the home stretch. This flight's definitely been the most turbulent I've had. I'm pleased with my decision making so far. Here I'm going to cut behind this tower and then go straight over that powered paddock, and that will get me on the escarpment, so that will give me more options for landing and also a little bit better fuel economy. We'll just switch back to my wing. Which you can see up there. My wing has behaved magnificently in some fairly, well, for what for me has been some fairly turbulent air. This flight's definitely pushed me past to my comfort zone. I'm very pleased that I've done it. I'm very pleased that I cut the corners that I did. That should allow me to get back safely to my takeoff. Okay, I'm going to take the safe option here and escarpment rather than cut the corner. It'll use a bit more fuel, but it will give me more options for landing. Wow, the wind is really swung around to the north. So I should have a fairly quick trip home. Very definitely past my comfort zone. It looks like there's not a lot of wind down there on the dam at the base of the escarpment. Now I'm going to run for home. Woohoo! What a flight! Well, that was or is a fantastic flight. Definitely pushed me. I'm pleased with my decision making. I'm pleased I cut the corners that I did. Give me a little bit more surety that I've got enough fuel to get home. I'm now just going to stay in front of the escarpment. Oh, might get out a bit further. Okay, feeling a bit happier again, which is good. This has been a very pleasing flight. As I said, it really pushed me beyond, right up until my limits, but fairly pleased. I wish I had started an hour earlier. That would have resulted in it being a much smoother flight, but I'm very pleased with it. I'll just have a look at how much fuel I've got. By the looks of it, I've got about 3 litres, which will be enough to get me home. You can see down there are the vineyards at Lake George. I didn't get all the way to gunning. I cut the corner there to make sure I got out of the air as soon as possible, and to make sure that I have plenty of fuel to get home. So there were a few moments there where I was a bit tense. I ended up not following my track and not following the road. I ended up dropping down to about 500 or 400 foot above ground level. That seemed to give me the best forward speed. Then when I got I was very pleased with my decision making. All the way I was looking at alternative landings if I had an engine out. Very pleased about that. There's an interesting view patterns on the lake here. You'll notice there's a bit of a sandbar there. Don't know quite why that is so big. I must talk to someone and find out about that. Looks like on the lake there's very little wind. But the wind that there is seems to be northerly. As I said, very pleased with my decision making, and very pleased with how things came together. So now, well and truly on my way back to the car. I will stop this video in a minute and pull in my trimmers and then get ready to set up a landing at the top of the Geary South launch. I love the sound of that engine. It's very, very encouraging. I've had a fantastic Christmas flight. Thankfully, haven't been run into by any runaway drones, which is good. There's some sheep going out to the muddier parts of the lake. I guess they're going to have a drink, or maybe they get more tender grass out there. One lone kangaroo hopping home. Might just drop down and follow him a bit, actually. Certainly noticed that I'm following it. It's quite able to stay ahead of me. Do a 360 here and there he is. He's not going to run anymore. Okay, time to get this baby on the ground. Wow! The wind is easterly. That is very surprising. So what I'm going to do is land a bit away from my car, just do a practice approach. Actually, I'm going to land well away from my car. Okay, that was a fantastic flight. Definitely pushed me beyond my comfort zone in many, many different ways, but I'm very pleased with my decision making. Ended up not going as far as I had planned, but that, one, because I was unsure about the fuel economy, and two, because the sooner I got out of the air, the less thermal-induced turbulence there was. I had planned to go to Sutton and then East Talagandra Lane, then onto Gundaroo, then Gunning, and then back via the escarpment at Collector back to Lake George. I ended up cutting a lot of the corners, which was the right thing to do. I ended up flying lower at various stages because there was a northerly wind up high, which was the right thing to do. There was definitely more turbulence than I was comfortable with, but I persevered. The wing was fantastic. I did a reasonable landing, a little bit rough on my right knee, but I just need to do some exercises on that. I opted to land a long way away from the car because I didn't want to get any turbulence from the escarpment, which was the right thing to do.
The flight took about 2 hours. The wing and motor performed beautifully, and I did my bit by changing my flight plan to suit the conditions. I landed with about 3 litres of fuel.